Who wrote Anti-Oedipus?
Anti-Oedipus?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Who wrote The Second Sex?
I've never heard of that book.
Who wrote The
No
18th
idea.
Romeo of Louis Bonaparte?
I have no idea. I've
Who
never
wrote What Is
heard
to
of
Be
that.
Done?
I don't know any of these.
I don't know.
Who wrote Discourse on the Origins of Inequality? There's only 3 more, I promise.
Is this your thesis? Was just this purity test? This like pissing
No, I
contest?
just
you
want to
wanted
make it.
do?
I just want it to
You
be
haven't read the
abundantly
books
clear.
that I've read.
No, I actually haven't read most of it.
You're not interested in exploring
Wait,
ideas.
if you haven't read them,
If you
can
shoot
you?
people only for-
Can you, dude? He just Wickedsupreme knows he's just outmaneuvered on every level. He's getting crushed.
Fair.
Can you answer one question?
Can you? Did he shoot people only who are
No,
putting
you're
buildings on
answering
fire?
questions with a question.
Oh my
It's a very simple
god.
question. You should be able to get over that.
Okay, show me a liberal content creator in 2022, and I'll show you a right-wing grifter hedging their bets. Well, here I am.
You a liberal?
Sure, I think most people would say that, yeah.
My condolences. What's your objection?
Well, show me that I'm a right-wing grifter hedging my bets.
Well, we just went over earlier, your concern with the Rittenhouse thing is your primary interest was in the protection of the property and in the protection of the guy who brought a gun to a protest when they were protesting police brutality against black people. That's one obvious example. I think, moreover, though, the general issue is that when you adopt
Hold on, we're not
centrist
going to
stance-
glide past that.
Yeah, we are. I think the main issue, though, is that when you adopt...
Giga
Serve you
chat.
to examine that more closely? Is that why?
Not particularly, no. So just
No, it doesn't serve. You wanted to bring it
Yeah.
up, but now that you've decided that it doesn't serve you to examine that more closely, you're just hoping to sneak that in and people examine it uncritically and accept what you say about it is true?
Well, you can ignore it if that suits you. So the main issue with
I
taking
don't
a
want to
centrist
ignore it.
stance-
I want to talk about it.
I'm so sorry for you, but you
Mhm.
will. So unfortunately, the issue with a centrist stance is that when you're dealing between two sides, one of which is critical of the fixed structures in a society, and one of which is fetishizing them and identifying itself as a fixture by that fetishization. When you adopt a stance that treats them both as equally fixed, you are adopting a stance that is solely the purview and the advantage of the one, and completely elides the actual stance of the other. So in effect, you're just really a padded out right-winger in the end.
So liberals are all right-wingers? Is that the idea?
Oh, in present day, absolutely. There was a time when they weren't. There was a time when the liberal move was itself revolutionary and actually did result in a radical change in the structure of society. But at this juncture, we're in a thoroughly liberalized world. Every state is a liberal state in form, if not in substance.
So why didn't your tweet read, all liberals are right-wingers?
Huh?
Why didn't your tweet just read that liberal is a right-wing ideology, liberalism is right-wing, or something like that? If that was your claim, then your claim was like,
Well, that would
really
be
weak.
that would be under the umbrella. I mean, the tweet that I made would be under that umbrella. No.
Well,
So
that's not what the tweet says.
I specify liberal content creators. Those would presumably also be liberals, right?
Okay, well, if all liberals are right-wing, then none of us are grifters, if we're also right-wing.
Well, I specify content creators because content creators who are liberal in this day and age are generally grifters.
Well,
Like,
how are we
let's
grifters?
let's play a little experiment here. Okay, so we
let's
went over
play
your
it.
video on why you're not left on the left just a few minutes ago,
Mhm.
and you considered it to be the role of a content creator to really explore ideas and to really like challenge our thoughts about stuff and you know like to interrogate like these really nuanced and complex issues. So I wonder if you'll indulge me and play a little game for a second.
Okay.
Give me a second. So what I'm going to need you to do is cover your eyes. Cover them completely so you can't see a thing.
Okay.
Can you do that?
Was that it? Was that the whole thing?
No, just wait for it. Just wait for it. Hey, you're peeking. I can see the cracks. See all those fingers.
Okay, can we get on with this, or?
Yeah, well, your eyes aren't covered anymore. I'm watching you.
Okay.
It's a bit of a lag. I'm just waiting for it. There we go.
Okay.
Beautiful. Okay, great. All right.
Sorry.
Who wrote Anti-Oedipus?
Anti-Oedipus?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Who wrote The Second Sex?
I've never heard of that book.
Who wrote The
No idea.
18th Romeo of Louis Bonaparte?
I have no idea. I've
Who
never
wrote What Is
heard
to
of
Be
that.
Done?
I don't know any of these.
I don't know.
Who wrote Discourse on the Origins of Inequality? There's only 3 more, I promise.
Oh my god. Wickedsupreme getting absolutely crushed in his lack of literate knowledge. Oh my god. Destroyed.
I don't know. That one sounds familiar.
Good. Who wrote The Doctrine of Fascism?
That's not the 17 point or whatever. How many points?
No.
14
no.
points. Guy,
Who,
right?
who
No.
wrote A Theory of Justice?
No idea.
Oh,
Who wrote the
wait, is the last one Rawls? Hold on, I don't know if that's true or not. Yes, I knew one of them. I'm a master liberal. I know everything.
Origins of Totalitarianism?
I have no idea.
Who wrote The Subjection of Women?
I don't know.
Okay, so you're not interested in ideas, dude. This stuff has all been publicly accessible for decades and decades and decades and decades.
Well, hang on. Let me
You're
read out a
talking
list of
about
books and
sneaking
ask you if you've read them.
Well, no. These aren't just books, my friend. These are like.
Oh, your
purported
books are the
texts.
true books.
My dude, if you tell anyone who knows anything that you do not know the author of even 80% of these books, they're not.
Is this your thesis? Was just this purity test? This like pissing
No, I
contest
just
you
want to
wanted
make
do?
it. I just want it to
You
be
haven't read the
abundantly
books
clear.
that I've read?
No, I actually haven't read most of these.
You're not
books.
interested in exploring
Wait,
ideas.
if you haven't read them,
I
books?
actually haven't. No, I actually haven't read most of these books. I just wanted to make it abundantly clear.
You
that
don't
are
know
so-
who wrote the
that You
books?
are so disinterested in ideas that you weren't even aware of them in advance. So if you try to pull some marketplace of ideas bullshit, I know you're full of it.
ooh, the
What are
marketplace.
you talking about? Marketplace of ideas bullshit.
He brought up
Does-
the
does
marketplace.
Participating, even if I use that like Dave Rubin rhetoric, does participating in a marketplace of ideas require you to know the authors of those specific books?
Yep.
It would be the evidence that one takes an interest in any of these issues is that one is even loosely aware of the most major players in any of these domains, and you're just not. So you're out of your depth here.
Which
we
domains?
can't fundamentally have. a
Oh,
discussion
out of his
because all you have is
depths.
the
Oh my
definition.
god.
Is this like is this the like you don't know theory bro thing or what?
You don't know anything.
It's
That's
impossible
the major
to
issue. You don't know anything.
Okay, so because I don't know the author of those books, we can't have any substantive discussion about anything. Like I've never examined anything. Is that your idea?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, why don't we put it to the test?
Uh-oh.
Okay. What are we putting to the test?
Sure. What idea would you like to talk about?
Well, I assumed you had an actual objection to the statement, but it seems to me you really don't, and you don't even understand it.
Because I don't know the author of some books.
No, that's adjacent. That's evidence in favor
Hey,
of
I'm willing
an
to put it to the
explanation.
test. Are you willing to or not?
That's evidence in favor of an explanation.
Is that a
for
no
why
from
you
you?
don't understand anything.
Is that
I don't
a
even know what I'm
no?
saying no. I don't even know what I'm saying no to.
I'm asking you. You can pick a topic. If you want to talk about a topic, I'm happy to explore the topic with you. I'm happy to, like entertain any ideas that you have and go back and forth about it.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Yeah, Rings of Power is pretty good. Your thoughts?
Is that a topic?
I think that sounds like a hell of an interesting topic to me. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I thought it was going to be trash. I saw The Wheel of Time. Awful film. Awful series. Never got past the first episode. Rings of
You
Power
wanna-
is gripping.
Hey, you want to talk about movies? Is that what you want to talk about?
Yeah.
This is so weak. I'm so disappointed. I mean, I guess I got to be honest. I didn't have high expectations. I wanted to say, I mean, the whole point of this, right? I'll show you a right-wing grifter hedging their bets. What? Can you give me your definition of a grifter?
Someone who's in it for money and attention and things superfluous to, actually knowledge, understanding, actual political causes, yada, yada, yada.
Someone who's in what?
Anything.
Someone
Anything
who's
at
in
all.
anything for money and attention is a grifter?
Yeah.
So
well,
wait.
especially if you're doing like something
Like every
media-wise
actor
where
is a
you're posturing.
grifter? Every politician is a grifter?
I mean, it's a grift. I wouldn't necessarily say
Every
it's a scam.
activist is a grifter?
Activists aren't all in it for the money. A lot of activists do what they do at personal cost, at personal risk.
Would you say that it's wrong for anybody to expect compensation for anything that they do?
Of
Or that
course
it makes
not.
them a grifter?
Of course not, but I do have an issue with people expecting.
Wait, what the fuck was his definition? Hold on, I'm sorry.
Grifter?
I mean, it's a grift. I wouldn't necessarily say
Every
it's a scam.
activist is a so someone
anything
who's
at
in
all.
anything for money.
To actually knowledge, understanding, actual political causes, yada yada yada.
Someone who's in what?
Anything.
Someone
Anything
who's
at
in
all.
anything for money and attention. Entertain any ideas that you have and go back and forth about it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Rings of Power is pretty good. Your thoughts?
Is that a topic?
I think that sounds like a hell of an interesting topic to me. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I thought it was going to be trash. I saw The Wheel of Time. Awful film. Awful series. Never got past the first episode. Rings of Power is perfect.
You want to talk about movies? Is that what you want to talk about?
Yeah.
This is so weak. I'm so disappointed. I mean, I guess I gotta be honest. I didn't have high expectations. I want to say, I mean, the whole point of this, right? I'll show you a right-wing grifter hedging their bets. What? Can you give me your definition of a grifter?
Someone who's in it for money and attention and things superfluous to, actually knowledge, understanding, actual political causes, yada yada yada.
I would say that I feel like grifter implies a level of deceit, I would say. Like, you could be in something for money and kind of believe it and kind of not. But I feel like grifter implies that, like, you know you're talking shit. Like, grifter is like a dude that is like pretends to be pro-capitalism or pro-socialism, but he's like, personally, like, if you're talking, he's like, yeah, this is all bullshit. But like I say this shit because it gets me views. I feel like grifter carries that connotation with it more, rather than just like somebody in it for money, right? I'm trying to think of who I would consider like there's usually some sense of like compromising values for money. I feel like his definition of grifting, like, I make money off of what I do. If I didn't make money, I don't even know if I could do what I do, right? Would I consider myself a grifter? Or somebody that like wants to make money doing things online? Would I consider them a grifter if they do politics? I don't know if that's the case.
Someone who's in what?
Anything.
Someone who's in anything for money and attention is a grifter?
Yeah.
So
especially if you're doing like something
like every actor is a grifter? Every politician is a grifter?
I mean, it's a grift. I wouldn't necessarily say
every
it's a scam.
Activist is a grifter?
Activists aren't all in it for the money. A lot of activists do what they do at personal cost, at personal risk.
Would you say that it's wrong for anybody to expect compensation for anything that they do?
Of
or
course
that it makes them a grifter?
Of course not, but I do have an issue with people expecting compensation for doing something that they aren't doing but are merely pretending to do. You don't think, dude. You don't read. You don't know anything.
Doesn't read.
I've read some stuff. If you really want to know, I've read some Durkheim. I've read some Du Bois. I've read some of the classic sociologists. I've read some de Tocqueville. I've read some Aristotle. I've read some Plato. I've read people,
Aristotle.
I don't want to start this pissing match of, haha, who have you read? Well, I've read these people, because it's not substantive. There's no substance to it whatsoever. We can have literary pissing contests if you really want, but I don't think it amounts to anything.
Dude, if it makes you feel any better,
I fear for anybody who sees that pissing contest conducted and thinks that there's anything substantial to it.
If it makes you feel any better, I haven't read Anti-Oedipus. I haven't read The Second Sex. I've read Vermeer like years and years ago. I haven't read What Is to Be Done.
But
I haven't read
the
Doctrine of Fascism.
or what?
I haven't read The Theory of Justice. I haven't read The Subjection of Women.
Okay.
But I know of them because I've taken an interest in what people have actually said about these things, because I actually do care about ideas. You don't, because you only care about ideas insofar as those ideas happen to be things that you can interface with because they're being spoken by large content creators.
That's not true. No, that's not true. I'm a full-time student, and like part of the course I've taken has me reading some like contemporary literature and some classical literature as well, in terms of philosophy. Most recently, like a bunch of economists and stuff. I've had to read some Milton Friedman, some Thomas. I've had to read other economists. Who's the guy? The World is Flat. I can't remember that guy's name. But whatever. I've had to like read a bunch of this stuff recently, and I'm not sure even the era of the literature that you've listed, and I'm not sure that it's relevant if like people have built on those ideas. And hell, I've fucking actually read some Marx, and like people who built on those ideas. And like the lesson that I would carry forward, reading some of these authors chronologically, is that like you really only need to read some like the most recent authors if you're like super interested in these details. So like I said, if you want to talk about some details, I've read some behavioral psychology from over the past 10 years. I've read behavioral economy. I've read some Evo Psych from over the past 10 years. If you want to talk about these topics, I can tell you what I've read. If you think it's useful or beneficial in any way to gauge or to try to pre-crime the fucking winner of some intellectual pissing contest over knowing the authors of which books by the year they were written or something like that, I really fear for your audience that thinks that that's like a way to conduct anything, or that lends any credence to your claim, which is show me a liberal content creator in 2022 and I'll show you a right-wing grifter hedging their bets. Now, if you're coming into this saying, oh, my definition of a liberal is that they're definitionally right-wing, congratulations. You've made a completely tautological and vacuous claim that nobody should care about, and it's not the claim that you were making. You're also making the claim that anybody doing this is a right-wing grifter. The idea, I think most people would understand a grifter to be somebody who holds a set of positions publicly that they don't agree with privately, and that they're spreading them disingenuous, and they're not spreading the right ideas because they have some ulterior motives to spread a different set of ideas and get people to agree with those instead. Somebody like Dave Rubin or like Tim Pool, who are people that certainly possess like the ability, the capability
Wow. Epic, wicked supreme, right,
a
guys?
rigorous acumen of journalism, but choose not to exercise it in ways that are really obvious in order to lend credence to a set of political ideals that they actually agree with, while maintaining, the semblance of being a liberal or something like that. That seems like that's the accusation there. Now, if you're just saying a grifter is anybody who does anything for money and attention, then, and that liberals are all automatically right wing, then you've basically just said, I think liberals are all right wingers, and anybody who does anything for money or attention is a grifter. You've just included basically fucking like 90% of the planet. I don't know what to say. That's not a strong claim.
Creators, but a content creator who's a grifter would be one who says stuff that they don't believe because they haven't.
Okay, show me. You said you could show me. So show me what I don't believe.
I don't know what you don't believe because I've gone through one of your videos talking about why you're not on the left and it took you all of 19 minutes to get to there's a color gradient.
Yeah, the whole video. Can you summarize that video for me?
No.
Okay, well, you should probably fucking watch it first instead of telling me what the title of it is. Okay, well, you're supposed to be the scholar, right? You're the academic. That's what it says in your Twitter. You should be able to summarize a 19-minute, YouTube video.
Says I'm a political scientist. Okay, well, if I was pressed.
Well, I can pull up a tweet that says that you're an academic. You have it in parentheses.
No, it's political scientist.
We academics must remember that the ability to sit and write about reality is quoting Karen Stowe.
That's a quote from a book. She's addressing academics. I'm not
He kind of got caught.
I am an academic. That's the point.
Kind of got caught there. Yikes.
Okay, so you qualify yourself as an academic.
An academic just means you take an interest in academic matters, and that's your primary vocation. It doesn't mean that. I'm not sure what you think.
Okay, do you qualify yourself as an academic? Yes or no?
In terms that my primary vocation is academic pursuits, yes.
Okay, cool. So you qualify yourself as an academic. You can't tell me the summary of a video. You can tell me the title of it, which actually doesn't even really reflect the content of the video.
I was about to. In fact, if you rewind the stream...
I asked you if you could, you said no.
Currently. No, but if absolutely pressed, what I gathered from this is that you believe there is room for interpreting different policies as potentially occupying a gray state between right and left. And then we had a long diversion looking at some guys laughing at Sneeko, something about Rittenhouse, and then you just kind of said something about how it's hard to know stuff, but get to it, and then it closed out. There was really not a lot there.
Well, it sounds like you put a lot of effort in understanding this, which I think was a really simple concept.
I'm confessing, I pre-watched it in advance of watching it today again on stream, so...
Sure.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, the whole point of that video is that, like, holding a position on anything, and I used abortion and Kyle Rittenhouse as two sort of hallmark examples of this. You can have a position, you can have any position that can include any number of nuances on those pretty complex topics. I think they're pretty complex issues. Rittenhouse being one that you wanted to escape by earlier, and that you said that you were happy escaping from and weren't willing to examine again, which isn't surprising.
Not particularly. I just wanted to get to a more interesting point. We can talk about Rittenhouse.
Well, that's not why. You wanted to drop it because it's rhetorically and optically strong, and you think that people on your side are going to go, yeah, he supports Rittenhouse, and that's liberalism or something like that. I'd love to examine that with you.
No, we already heard you say that you support Rittenhouse. You think that's totally defensible. The reason why I wanted to skirt by it is because I had an additional point that I wanted to make that we would spend.
Yeah, and I would love to discuss.
Diverting from.
I would love to discuss the Rittenhouse situation with you. You don't seem particularly brave to do so, unfortunately. But
I've invited you to just now.
I'm sorry.
I've invited you to just now.
Okay, we can, but that has to take a backseat to the other topics that we've talked about since then.
Oh, now it has to take a backseat.
Ooh.
Okay, we can talk about Rittenhouse right now if you want to. Okay, listen. If somebody set your neighbor's house on fire and they said, "Can you help me come and defend it?" Do you think it's morally wrong to do so?
Carla Rittenhouse was defending
on fire. Can you answer my question?
I'm asking you a clarifying question. Was the car lot Rittenhouse was defending on fire?
It was the previous night. They lost half their assets and they were calling for help.
They were calling for help.
Yeah, they called for help for people to come and defend from further damage.
They called Rittenhouse to come in with a gun and to stand in front of the building and to shoot people if they approached the building.
Rittenhouse and his crew maintained that there was an open call for help that these people made.
Oh, good for them.
Does Destiny care about his Twitter? Listen. In the Matrix Revolutions, the Neo UC is actually the 8th one. Okay? That's the 8th Neo, guys. They don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming.
I guess fuck human life then, right?
Well,
we gotta
certainly
save the car lot.
there are certainly certain situations where people have the agency to choose for themselves. Wait, actually, we can go more fundamental than this. If somebody is approaching you and they want to do damage to you or your property, if they want to burn down your house, you're sitting inside your house, do you think that you have the right to hold a gun and say, if you make another step to try to burn down my house, or if you light my house on fire, I'm posing a credible threat to your life? Do you think that that's morally wrong?
Do you mean Agent Smith? No. Wait, wasn't there like 7 versions of the Matrix before Neo showed up? I'm almost positive.
I don't think I have the right, therefore, from that logic, to traverse states with a gun that I'm not legally allowed to carry. No, not hold on.
No, you want to escape from this.
Yeah. When you escape from it, you're not scary. Whatever the fuck your name is.
Bro,
it's not.
You sound like you're gonna piss yourself. You okay?
True, actually. Ooh.
Jesus Christ, are you okay?
Is this like a parody? What am I engaging with here exactly?
Okay. Like I said, I would love to examine this with you, but you don't seem particularly brave to do so. You seem really scared to examine this like in a granular way, which is surprising for a self-acclaimed academic.
I mean, you say that, but you can't brook a single clarifying question. That now suddenly requires like, no, you answer the question as I phrased it now.
I want to know. I want to ask questions about your values so that I can understand your values. I would be surprised if we didn't agree.
I don't think you can. And
you
moreover,
don't think
I don't believe
ask
you.
questions about your values?
I don't believe you when you say you want to.
You don't
believe you.
You just think
no. I think you're an extremely incurious person who's just happy to be here, who just really wants to be seen. There's nothing
okay,
to
I asked you a question. This is you running from it. This is sidestepping to try to just insult me or something like that. This is actually you know how people say this is an ad hom, that's an ad hom? I think people misuse that term. Can you give me the definition of an ad hominem? Argument ad hominem?
An argument ad hominem is when you insult the person instead of addressing the argument and use that as the substance of a counter argument.
True.
No, not necessarily that you insult the person.
Yes, necessarily. That's exactly what it means.
It's that you ruin the credibility.
It literally means against a man.
No,
it literally means against a man.
That's fine that it means that. It's about ruining the credibility.
You asked me what it means.
But you're missing something critical, which is that you're
I don't have to attack the credibility of someone who doesn't have any.
That's what argument ad hominem is. I don't need to listen to your arguments because you are not credible.
You're mistaken. An argument ad hominem is not when you attack the credibility of someone. It's when that's...
Oh, no. Fuck. Supreme is actually incorrect here. Attacking the credibility of somebody, I don't even know if that's necessarily fallacious. An argument ad hominem is when somebody says something like, I think that 2 + 2 is 4. And then somebody says, well, I think you're a fat fucking moron. And you're like, oh. That would be an argument ad hominem, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to defeat his argument by just making a personal attack. If somebody says 2 + 2 is 4, and then somebody else is like, okay, well, you're not a mathematician, that's not an argument ad hominem, technically. Attacking the credibility. That would be, I don't know if you'd consider that a fallacious appeal to authority or what, but that's not technically an ad hominem. Or I'd say not technically, it's not an ad hominem at all.
The substance of an argument against an argument that doesn't rely on the credibility. You're out of your depth.
That's not what it is.
Isn't the point of the insult portion of the ad hom intended to undermine credibility? No. You don't have to undermine the credibility at all. It's just an insult. Unless maybe there are multiple types of ad homs actually. Hold on, let me check. Let me check before we give the official Omni ruling on this. Fallacious ad hominem reasoning occurs where the validity of an argument is not based on deduction or syllogism, but on an attribute of the person putting it forward. Valid ad hominem occurs in informal logic, where the person making the argument relies on arguments from authority, such as testimony, expertise, or a selective presentation of information supporting the position they are advocating. Name calling, ad hom. Wait, okay, hold on. Wait. Circumstantial ad hominem is an attack on the bias of a source, points at someone, circumstance, appeal to motive, ergo decido, go by association, tu quo coup. Whataboutism, abusive ad hominem. Poisoning the well is a type of informal fallacy where adverse information about a target is preemptively presented to an audience with the intention of discrediting or ridiculing them. Ad hominem arguments in regards to testimony and authority. Ad hominem arguments are relevant where the person being criticized is advancing arguments from authority or testimony based on personal experience rather than proposing a formal syllogism. Okay. Sorry.
That is very true. I challenge your audience to Google it.
Okay, we'll do it live. Fuck it.
Go for it.
Oh, well, now they're just going to look at it. Well, fuck me.
Typically, this term refers to a rhetorical strategy where the speaker attacks the character, motive, or some other attribute of the person making an argument rather than addressing the substance of the argument itself. The most common form of ad hominem is A makes claim X, B asserts that A holds that the property is unwelcome, and hence B concludes that the argument X is wrong. Fallacious ad hominem reasoning occurs that the validity of an argument is not based on deduction or syllogism, but on an attribute of the person putting it forward.
Hold on. Okay, I'm being autistically precise about this. Ad hominem is always done for the purpose of degrading someone's credibility when making an argument. Sure, kind of, but fallacious ad hominem, there are forms of ad hominems that aren't fallacious. So for instance, if somebody's appealing to their authority on a topic, and then you say, well, hold on, you don't know shit about this. If somebody says, okay, listen, I've read a lot of whatever Rawls, and I'm going to tell you that Rawls means this. Somebody's like, hold on, you haven't read a single fucking thing of Rawls. You didn't even read the wiki. That would be an ad hominem attack, but it wouldn't be a fallacious ad hominem because you would be attacking the authority that they're presenting, right? So not all ad hominem is fallacious. Just like how all appeals to authority aren't fallacious. Just like how your mom is fallacious.
Okay, any contentions? Or
Nope.
do you want to edit the Wikipedia or anything like that? Or is this whoever made this article, are they in error? Do you have a better idea?
No, I think they're completely right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
So, I don't know. How is that any different than what you've just done now? I've asked you a question about your values, and now you're just saying, I just don't think you have any credibility, and that's why I don't want to answer it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But that's not an ad hominem because that's not an argument. I'm telling you I'm not interested in that discussion.
Well, that is your
because
argument. You're presenting a
what's
counter
my
argument.
argument?
Okay, your argument.
What's the counter argument and what is the counter?
Your argument is that you do not want to answer the question because you don't think that I'm asking it credibly. Well, and I would even say, even if you don't think I believe, even if
you made an additional statement about wanting to understand.
Okay, I don't want to waste any time. I don't want to waste time on this shit. The point is, even if you thought that I was asking this question in bad faith, why wouldn't you still want to answer it?
Which question?
The question about your values, about whether or not you have the right to present a credible, like lethal threat to somebody who intends harm to you and your livelihood.
It wasn't Rittenhouse's livelihood.
I'm not asking about Rittenhouse right now. I'm trying to figure out your values.
I think when you're operating in a space in which your life is in danger, rights don't particularly have any substance anymore. What are you going to tell the person? Die, lose your stuff? That's about it.
Okay. Do you want to answer the question?
Which one?
Okay. If somebody is posing a credible threat to you and your livelihood or your property or your abode or something like that,
can you
think
mine
that you have the
pyroflux
right to present a lethal threat?
I don't think that's an answer that bears a yes or a no. I think in that particular space, rights
What a
is a
weasel!
subject.
Man up and just fucking answer it.
Rights. Is a
Weasley
concept,
little
don't have
liar.
an
Oh my
application.
Okay,
Rights
do you
is a
think
concept, don't have an
it's
application in
morally
that
wrong?
scenario.
Do you think it's morally wrong to present a credible threat of lethal force to somebody who's trying to burn down your livelihood?
Do I think Jesus objects to it? No.
Jesus. Yes.
What are you asking when you ask, do I think
you just not believe in
have
ethics?
a moral right? No, I do believe in ethics. Just the difference is that I understand how ethics works, and you think that ethics just means here are magical rules that you have to follow where you get the red mark.
Okay, so are you powerless to say that something is good or bad, or that you ever have the moral license to do anything?
In a context in which the scaffolding for an ethical system is absent, absolutely, categorically. That's the reason why we need to have like a political system in place that actually enshrines ethics.
So you're just you are completely powerless when offered a hypothetical to answer it and say, yes, this is good, or no, this is bad.
I mean, so are you. The difference is you don't know anything.
No,
so
I'm
you
not.
answer
I'm
anyways.
happy to stake a position.
I know you're happy. Ignorance is bliss.
I'm not powerless to do that. I'm not happy to just sit on my hands and say, well, you never know. And fucking
You are sitting
like,
on your hands this very moment.
that's not true. I've got one hand on my mouse, my push the talk button, and the other one's up here, gyrating. Okay, I don't know. Like, listen, do we want to actually have a conversation? You actually seem super scared to ever stake out any positions.
No,
you want to
I
divert
don't.
from every topic that comes up.
I don't want to talk to you. You're boring.
Oh,
I really don't want to talk to you.
boring.
Listen, you said you would
challenge me
eat
so
me
I can hear it.
alive.
He's
I
getting
feel particularly
crushed.
unmunched at the moment. I don't know what to say. Like you are the one that threatened to have a conversation with me. I set up the time and place.
When the teeth are sharp enough, you don't feel them as much.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
I'm led to believe that you're actually a pretty smart guy and that you're capable of like making video essays about academic topics, and you're able to explore them and like provide something really valuable on YouTube. I'm led to believe this, and I have no reason to believe that this is not true. I shouldn't say I have no reason, but I actually think that this is probably true.
The
but
reason,
lately
I'm
you've
just curious.
I'm sorry?
What's the reason? Just curious.
The reason is that you've been going around attacking people and acting like an ass.
Really? Who have I been attacking?
I don't know, like fucking Chud Logic. Your first conversation with Destiny was horrible.
Do you recall why I was attacking Chud Logic?
I do, but even if I agreed with you,
What was the reason?
What was the reason?
I forgot.
The reason was you were upset over DK's conduct, and you thought that it was Chud Logic's responsibility.
What was his conduct?
DK's conduct. I couldn't tell you exactly what his conduct is.
I can.
But that's good for you. We don't need to talk about it because I probably agree with you that it was really bad.
DK is an employee of Chud Logic, and he threatened his staff with doxing and harassment. He also faked DMs to make Ryzen look like a pedophile, to make me look like I was threatening violence against him.
Damn.
Sure,
Chud Logic
but then you went on.
protected him and disparaged the people he attacked.
Yeah, but instead of representing your point, well, you just went on and started screaming, and then you left.
Yes, because I counted him as a friend and I was betrayed. People get angry when they have any sort of moral
no,
sense
not
whatsoever.
necessarily. I don't want to litigate this drama with you. The point is that you're going around acting like an
brought it up,
ass in
not me,
these
dude.
conversations. I'm sorry?
I said you brought it up, not me.
Yeah, I did bring it up because
Yeah,
I
you
think it's
did.
relevant.
Oh,
And
well then,
actually-
then we can talk about it.
What was
Is it relevant or not? You gotta pick one, man.
I said that it was relevant.
Yes.
It doesn't mean I want to litigate every detail of it because I might even agree with you. I might even agree with your overall premise. I might even agree with
Well,
maybe some of the ways that you handled it.
We're not gonna find out if you're not willing to litigate any of this. I think, in fact, what's the destiny point then? Like,
This is you doing it, by the way. This is you wanting to
am I
like.
doing?
He's doing it
confound
right
and-
now.
And distract. I'm literally just granting that I agree with you right now. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what the details are.
Agree
Let's just
with
say I
what?
agree with you
Agree with what?
about the steps Chud Logic should have taken given DK's demeanor or given his behavior.
Okay.
Even if,
Wait, your Vulcanite blocks need to be recycled into Vulcanite before being siphoned off? Wait, what are you talking about? My Vulcanite blocks need to be siphoned off. My shit is running perfectly. My shit is running flawlessly. How is this conversation so intense? What is Sunday mad about? He's mad about everything all the time, constantly. I need more centrifuges, if anything.
let's just grant that I agree with you on that. Why do we need to argue about it now? Right?
I don't know why we're even discussing this. I don't care if you
The
agree with
reason
me.
we're discussing it is because, like I said, I think you may have something valuable to offer in terms of content creation. But lately, I've been witnessing a trend of you like assailing people and then like going. Actually, the first time
assailing people. I'm
Yeah.
assailing people now.
Sure, absolutely.
Ooh, who am I assailing?
You're making all these videos that are like drama baiting, and you're trying to criticize people in a way that's
What do you
like,
mean drama baiting? They're criticizing Chud Logic for precisely what we talked about. You're granting in this hypothetical that you agree with me. He's made about twice as much content on that.
Sure, yeah, he's assailing you too. It's kind of his thing. That's expected, right? However, Chud Logic stands to gain from it. He's like, it typically serves him to do this, but I don't think it serves you because of your behavior. Because of Chud Logic's behavior.
That actually bears in favor of my honesty as opposed to him. I don't have extrinsic benefits to gain.
Okay.
I'm doing it.
Listen,
I'm doing it for
I
the
think you have a
reason that
lot
I
to
say.
lose. And I think if your goal is to be convincing or like,
I haven't lost anything yet. I'm
I
sitting.
think you're
pretty at the
losing more
moment.
than you recognize or more
What
than
am I
you
losing?
realize.
What am I losing?
I think you're exposing yourself as like a fucking, blowhard asshole to a bunch of people that may have been interested in your content otherwise, and now you're a lol cow, dude.
Among who?
Among
My
it's almost universal.
My audience remains stable. In fact,
How big
it's
is your
grown
audience?
since then. It's bigger than yours.
Sure, how big is it?
Not that much bigger than yours.
What a weird.
Why don't you just answer the question for once?
I don't know. I'm actually wondering. I'm not entirely sure how I
Rigid
would gauge
intellectual.
that.
Can you just answer something for once?
I've got 177 viewers right now. I've got 6 point. Bear with me a sec.
You said it hasn't impacted the size of my audience. That implies that you know what the regular size of that audience is, and in order to be able to compare right now to before, right?
No, it implies that I recognize that it hasn't shrunk.
Yeah, so you have to be able to know what the size is now and be able to compare it to a previous point in time.
Yeah, but I was getting you an actual figure. I was indulging your question. So in answer to your question, I have 6.59K subs right now, and I have 177 viewers currently at the moment.
Sure. And how many people have you been exposed to?
I suppose that many, definitely. I've got a good rapport with Demon Mama, which I hadn't had for a very long time prior to this. I've got good relationships with Kevin Logan, Aiko, I've talked to St. Andrews. I'm hoping to talk to them again. I mean, a few people. Noah Samson, I don't know where I stand with him, but we talk occasionally. Vosh I'm on good terms with. Yo, I think we're kind of iffy at the moment, but I think that can be salvaged.
This is you wasting time again. Are you curious to understand where this goes? You keep calling me incurious, but then every opportunity to just fucking like waste time and just bloviate, you seize and fucking
I think
devour.
in terms of the range of things I'm curious about, it's like the difference between the World Trade Center and like a sandcastle.
Ooh.
But in terms of like the particular subject at hand, I gotta be honest with you, I'm not curious at all.
Listen,
This is so boring.
Honest to God, I'm offering this, from a place of love. I'm trying to tell you that I think you might have something to offer a lot of people, but this spree of going around and arguing with people, I think is, really shooting yourself in the foot, and it doesn't look good for you. I don't know what to say. Like this conversation, I was really ready to hear your thesis.
I'm as stumped as you are. I made a video essay. You're welcome to go check it out right after this on precisely this topic. I tried to lay it out for you.
On how all liberals are actually right wing, and that grifting is anybody who does anything for money or attention.
Bingo.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. That might be interesting. When I gave you the floor to explain it,
you wanted to go back to the Rittenhouse thing. Then when I brought the Rittenhouse thing, you want to go back to the other thing.
Well, no, you wouldn't answer any questions.
You're hot and you're cold, dude.
You wouldn't answer questions about the Rittenhouse thing. I want to examine the Rittenhouse thing.
I didn't want to answer questions right then because I had a thing I was going to bring up. I didn't realize you were going to jump in as soon as I was making.
No, that's not true. I asked you a philosophical question. You said, "Well, who can really even say what's good or bad?" I mean, how can I ever take a position on that?
I didn't say that.
You did.
Oh, I actually gave you a very concrete answer. Rights apply in specific contexts when you actually have like a scaffolding to make the rights sort of functional and maintained by actual forceful structures in the world. In the absence of those, like when you're in a de facto state of nature, when there's no police around and it's just chaotic, you do what is in your judgment to protect yourself. Like, for example, on the Rittenhouse thing, at the point where he's running from the people in the crowd, even while they're chasing him, he's perfectly within his rights insofar as that means anything to fire back at them, because for all he knows he'll die. And what the hell are you going to tell him? Like, don't know you should die. It's the right thing to do.
Submit to the mob.
To what end? Like, how does that benefit him? Like, you have no persuasive power at that point. However, what you would say in advance of that is that, why the fuck were you there, dude? You're one guy with a gun.
That's a great question. That's an excellent question.
If their target was the parking lot, there is literally nothing that could have happened except you would shoot 1 or 2 or 3 people as it happens, and then you would have been horribly maimed, if not worse, and that's literally it.
Well, that's an excellent question. I'm glad we agree on the fact that his, the shooting that he did was all in self-defense, and he's not morally culpable.
Well, crucially though, in the dark in the crowd, the people chasing him also were acting in self-defense. This is the man with the projectile weapon. For all they know, he's been firing at the crowd. There's 1 man dead already. They don't have the camera view that we do. They just see a man. They just see a dead man in the street. A man running through the crowd with a gun.
Is he trying to hoo him? Oh,
yeah.
He was actually.
I think there's a fair argument.
We won't get the witness testimony of the dead man. We have no idea what he thinks.
Well, I think there's a fair argument there that there was a bunch of confusion, right? And that's what contributed, the death of.
He shouldn't have put himself into a situation where literally the only thing he could do was introduce confusion leading to lethal violence.
That's what I'm curious to examine. If you are.
What are we examining?
Mm-hmm. Whether or not it was wrong for him to be there in the first place. Earlier, you mentioned that
it was wrong for him to be there in the first place.
Well, let's examine that, because I think some of the details you may end up agreeing with me on. Actually, something that you claimed was me, like indicative of me being a right winger or something like that. You actually may agree with on a philosophical level.
Who's
in fact,
winning?
I predict that's the case. If you want to examine the details,
I don't know. We'll see where we go from here.
Sure. So you said, as part of your scaffolding of, a system, a framework for society to operate under, right? And that ethics applies under such a framework. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it basically means that we have to judge actions based on the conditions of the people.
Whatever you do, don't watch the second debate. You're making it sound like the second debate is real good.
Taking in lieu of those conditions.
Well, I think the more fundamental question is what is the right, because that's really how this comes to bear.
Sure. When I'm asking you if somebody has the right to do something, I'm asking them if you would say that they're morally wrong or ethically wrong or right. Or
sorry, can you start from the beginning and say that again?
Mm-hmm. When I'm asking if somebody has the right, I'm really asking if you're saying that they're morally in the wrong or morally in the right or something like that.
Okay, well that's not what I mean when I say right, and that's not what anyone means when they say right, because it's precisely not. No, because it's precisely not a counter to saying that, for example, I have the right to an abortion.
This is irrelevant. You know what I mean now. We can just press forward, right?
No, because you're talking
okay,
about
when
something that
says,
elides another concept.
Who gives you the right to do this thing? What are they asking?
Wicked. You're talking about something that you're packing in another concept into that, so it elides our ability to discuss it. That's the issue.
Why is my stone unbalanced here?
To do this right now?
Here?
To do what?
To want to have a meta conversation about rights or the word right.
The absence of any external impediment to my doing so.
So I'm sorry. There is no absence of the external impediment to you doing so. I'm asking you not to do it right now.
That's hardly an impediment.
Listen, if you want to turn off the camera and turn off the stream and talk to yourself about the meaning of the word right in a rigorous way and that it can never...
That'd be a really interesting time.
Okay, yeah, go for it right now. If you want to.
You sure?
I mean, you would be proving everybody right about your tendencies to leave these conversations the moment they get challenging.
Not if you tell me to. Not if you tell me to, I'm not.
Not if anybody tells you to do what?
I'm scot-free at that point.
Scot-free to do what?
How long have we been talking?
I'm like... I'm just so disappointed that you're so afraid to ever examine these things. The moment that these conversations get, the moment you feel like you're getting cornered, you wiggle out.
I don't feel cornered. I feel like I'm in a wide open
space. If you didn't feel cornered, then
staring
I feel
at a stone.
You'd be much more liable to answer these questions honestly, in a straightforward fashion.
Ooh.
Well, I did.
Ooh, he did.
You won't even allow me to ask the question at this point.
No, we'll ask the question again. Like we misunderstood each other.
Sure. So if somebody comes up to your neighbor and threatens to set their house on fire, and they ask you for help, do you think
I'll go out and I'll tell them, hey, dude, don't set their house on fire or I'll call the cops.
Yeah, what if the cops are indisposed?
I guess I'll shoot them.
Wow. So you would show up to defend somebody else's property with a gun.
Frankly, I would have the gun already aimed at my window if anybody even approached, just in case.
Okay. So you would show up to defend somebody else's property and kill them.
The wall of bodies that piled up in front of their house would protect them.
Okay. Listen, I knew that we would agree on this. And I guess maybe that makes you a right-winger by your own calculation.
What was that? Why is it so edgy?
You would have to tell me. This was part of your calculation for how I'm a right-winger.
I don't want to...
Are you okay?
I don't want to be mean. Are you sure? Are you sure we agree on that?
Well, it sounds like you would do what Kyle Rittenhouse did.
Is that what Kyle Rittenhouse did in your judgment?
Yeah.
He's memeing. Oh, is he?
Yes. There were protests where the legitimacy of their local police force was in question, and so the police were indisposed. They had, a protest and then ensuing riots going dark into the night to keep an eye on. And as a result of this, a business had half of their assets burned. They made an open call for help, so it seems. And somebody whose family lives there, who worked in that community, he was staying with his mother, who lived the next town over.
You're a right winger, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Just have the balls to admit it. You're a right winger. You value property and.
So do you though.
No, I don't.
You said that you would do this.
I'm joking, dude.
Okay.
So he was joking.
You just let them?
No. I would stop them from doing so.
How so?
If they were able
what if they said you're gonna have to kill me?
He was joking, dumb fuck.
Well, I don't think them saying you're gonna have to kill me to stop me is necessarily sets the terms.
Okay, great.
Maybe I can disarm them.
What a trickster!
I don't know. It gets complicated then.
Yeah,
but
tell me about how you disarm them. Tell me about how you disarm them.
It depends on what tool they're using.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He's a jutsu master.
If they're using a match, it's pretty easy. Just stop them from getting close to the building with the match.
How so?
Probably wrestling with them or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you a wrestler? You tough guy?
Nah.
No?
Nah. Well, I mean, I'm okay, but I'm not a wrestler.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have a yellow belt.
You don't strike me as the physical type. You don't strike me as the type that can stop anybody from doing anything. But you can correct me.
I can.
So you tell me. You're telling me, oh, I would simply disarm them. You would enable VATS and
Well, you would
strike them in the hand.
try to. If you weren't able to, you wouldn't. You would be exactly like the people in the house. They would leave the house if somebody was lighting it on fire. You'd probably take photos of their face. And
Can you think of a tool that
afterwards.
somebody might use to like help them equalize a physical confrontation?
A stick.
You'd pick up a stick and you'd stop somebody from burning your neighbor's house down.
Yeah, or better, if I have a stick
Damn.
that's strapped around. If I have a stick that's strapped around my body, that'd be really convenient.
I'm so excited for the moment you actually start engaging in this conversation earnestly, but you seem really afraid to find out that you actually agree with the idea that Kyle Rittenhouse.
I'm terrified.
It seems that way. I don't know. If you weren't, it seems like you would just answer the question.
In fact, I'm going to need to refill my drink. Give me a moment.
I'm amazed. I wish I could say that I didn't expect this.
Supreme is
I don't know what to say.
flustered by how much he's getting fucking
I'm disappointed
cumstered and
too. I don't
dumpstered
know what
right
I
now,
was-
guys.
Sure, in what? What were you expecting?
You know, you're right. I'm not disappointed.
Sure, tell me.
I'm not disappointed.
The floor is yours.
It is.
So far, when I've given you the floor, you've told me liberals are liberals and grifters are people who do things for money.
Grifters are people who do things disingenuously for money.
Sure, what do I do disingenuously?
Well, for one thing, you pretend to care about any of the thoughts or ideas that pertain to the situation.
Which
you clearly
situation?
don't.
I do care. I'm asking you earnestly and you're
Solutions generally,
refusing
you
to
don't.
answer.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. And I'll tell
Why
you
do you
why.
say that?
Why do I say that? Because you come here completely unprepared, completely blind as to any of the previous discourse that's taken place on this by the best speakers on the subject. And literally all you have is some backlog of debates you've had with people on the internet. That's the extent of your interest.
When did I
and
ever
your interest,
mention
your interest
my
is
debates
there.
with people on the internet?
Your interest is
Wait.
there.
When did I ever
Your
mention that?
interest is
No.
there.
When did
Your
I mention that?
interest is there.
When did I mention that?
Your interest is there. I can do
No,
this all
you made
night.
a
Your
claim that I
interest
did a
is there.
thing. I want you to
Your
show me where I
interest
did
is
it.
there. Your interest is there because that's where you make
Hey,
money.
I did the
Where you're able to
singing.
make money.
Hold on, just to be clear, the singing strat is my strat, okay? Anybody else that does that is literally ripping from me.
When did I refer to a backlog of debates?
No, in the last video, like on the why you're not on the left thing, there was literally no content there except for the Rittenhouse thing that you debated. When we're talking here, like you don't even have.
I don't think I've ever debated Rittenhouse with a person until now.
That's clearly untrue. You debated that with Vivian. I actually watched that last night as well.
You know,
You're wrong.
I'm not sure I knew much about
It was
Rittenhouse.
probably a very boring discussion. So I don't blame you for not remembering.
I'm not sure that I did. Because I don't think Vivian came around by the time that I started reading about Rittenhouse because I was waiting for the trial to read up on it.
It might have been irrelevant. You all sound the same to me.
Well, okay, so hang on a minute. The claim you just made about me referring to my previous debates is based on a video you didn't watch and a conversation you don't know anything about.
Let me double check. Give me a moment.
Okay, I came to this unprepared though, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, you did. Let's see. Wickedsupreme versus Vivian. I think that might have been on Chud Logic, actually. Let's see here. Yeah, MX Vivian Wolf versus Wickedsupreme, the Kyle Rittenhouse case, self-defense in Kenosha, 9 months ago on Chud Logic, 4.2
Yeah,
views.
on Chud Logic stream. Sure, fair enough.
Yeah.
So, I have debated Rittenhouse before, but when did I
the
ever refer to it?
turnaround. Oh my god.
The video I watched last night and just prior to the stream.
Okay.
Yeah, why you're not on the left?
You said you weren't
that's the
prepared.
one
You
debate
came
you
to
had
this.
that actually came in. Yeah.
But you were talking about our conversation here, about how I was unprepared for our conversation here.
No, you're just unprepared for a conversation about.
I feel
the identity
prepared
of
and I
people
want
on
to
the-
examine these things, and you don't seem to want to
Well,
answer questions earnestly or.
Facts don't care
about your feelings.
my dude. That's not what else to
Oh
tell you.
my god.
Well, I don't know. Listen, I
It's
could
just
make the
hit
same
after
claim that
hit
you
from
seem
this
unprepared.
guy.
You seem really confident about your ethical framework and the way that you view the world and stuff. But when put to the test, you don't seem to want to answer any questions, or you seem to want to just meme and joke. And listen, I'm used to that. I'm used to like lefties doing that too.
I don't want to
especially.
misrepresent. I don't want to misrepresent an issue to assuage someone who has no actual interest in the issue to the detriment of that issue.
I
No.
do. I have so much interest in the issue because I'm so confident that you and I agree on the underlying principles and on the philosophies.
I'm not
but
sure about.
yeah, well, if you were confident in that, you would just answer questions earnestly.
Why should I be earnest? What on earth is the stake here?
I mean, the stake is your
Why
credibility.
should I
at
be
this point.
earnest?
I mean, you're demonstrating pretty strongly that when put to the test, your own ideas, when you're coming forward with your own ideologically charged statements about show me a liberal content creator in 2022 and I'll show you a right-wing grifter hedging their bet. When put to the test, you don't seem to want to answer because you might find out that our values are the exact same. So if you're confident calling me a right-wing grifter, you might find out if our values align in every, in every situation or in every case that you're a right-wing grifter too, by your own admission. But we don't get there because you seem afraid to answer anything the moment you start feeling cornered.
What's the corner?
The corner is anytime I ask you a question, you start memeing or making jokes, or you start saying, well, but Rittenhouse, the Rittenhouse situation. I'm asking you a series of hypotheticals to expose your underlying values, and you don't seem to want to answer them.
I did answer them, though.
Okay. Okay, I'll tell you what. Now that we know everything we know about Rittenhouse, okay, was Rittenhouse wrong to answer the call of people in a community that was his neighboring community, in a community that he may have been able to claim? He's got family there. He worked there. It's the next town over in the rural Midwest. Is a 20, 30-minute drive away.
Yeah, that's right. He put the lives of people he didn't know and his own in jeopardy. Their
lives were already in jeopardy.
Who else was shot that night?
I'm not sure. Maybe. I have no idea if anybody else was shot that night. I've not heard of anybody else shot that night, but it doesn't matter.
Hang on. Their lives were already in jeopardy?
No, the lives and livelihood of people in... No, the lives and livelihood of people in Kenosha.
Oh, the lives and livelihood now.
Yes.
So now we're equating the parking lot with the people he shot.
Yes.
Yeah, you're a right-winger, dude.
Wait, but we agreed that you would defend your neighbor's house if somebody wanted to burn it down at the threat of their own death.
If the neighbors were out of the house when it was being burned down, no, I wouldn't kill the guy.
You would just let him burn down the house?
I wouldn't kill
Even
the
if
guy.
they said, "Hey, we're not home. Can you stop this guy from burning down my house?"
I would fight him and hopefully hurt him pretty bad so he couldn't do it, but I wouldn't kill the guy.
Can you just tell me what would be wrong about brandishing a weapon and saying, "Hey, like, I'm not gonna. You're gonna have to burn down this house over my dead body"?
No. I mean, in the dark, when the weapon itself is precisely.
Can you answer the question?
No.
Can you answer the question? You're not answering the question.
I am answering the question.
You're redesigning the hypothetical so that you can deliver an answer that you think is optically more sound.
Well,
which is something a grifter would do, actually. Somebody who's dishonest and wasn't confident in their own values.
I'm sorry, what was the question again? Answer it one more time, or ask that one more time.
Your neighbor says, "Hey, stop anybody from burning down our house tonight, please."
Yeah.
And you see somebody coming to burn down their house.
Yeah.
What is morally wrong about presenting the threat of lethal force and saying, if you want to continue to burn down this house, you do so at the peril of your own life?
Nothing.
Okay.
But if you shoot, it's wrong.
However,
that's what Rittenhouse did.
If I have like a bare modicum of sense, then I may also recognize that brandishing certain kinds of weapons provokes a certain kind of additional response, and may actually escalate the likelihood of having to kill someone. In fact, maybe even ensuring it.
Wow.
Okay, so you would just let a person burn down a house because of a fear that it might escalate things if you present lethal force?
No.
You're powerless to stop anybody from doing anything violent.
No. For example, what Rittenhouse is being chased by was somebody without a gun, and yet that motivated him to completely back away from his stance and flee. So clearly he had no intention actually to defend the place. He only fought back when he defended himself.
Yes,
so,
you're right.
Yes. So at that juncture, literally the only thing that weapon did for him was it provoked a lethal encounter not related to the defense of the property. What he should have done if he was actually serious about defending the parking lot was fucking beat the guy over the head with a stick he was holding.
Wait.
And maybe lose. Did you
see like Rosenbaum compared to Rittenhouse?
Yeah, I did actually. I watched the thing live.
So wait, which guy? Which guy should Rittenhouse have just beaten physically?
Rittenhouse was small enough to be... Wait. Yeah, Rosenbaum was a sexual assaulter, right? Or was that Rosenbaum? I was going to say Rittenhouse was small enough to be one of his victims. That's maybe a little bit too edgy, but...
First one.
Okay, Rosenbaum?
When you're standing guard, you stand guard. He fled.
No, listen. He was out putting out fires, right? He fled. There was a gunshot behind him. There was more than one person chasing after him.
Ooh, I think the person that fired the first shots, I think just recently got charged with a few felonies, right?
He didn't
Yeah,
even.
so clearly, putting out the fire wasn't that high a priority because he abandoned the fire to save his own ass. Like
I
he
think
wasn't
he did.
defending.
I think he put out the fire and then he started returning back.
Oh, great! But he ran.
Okay.
He ran, dude. There's nothing else
Yeah.
for it. He ran. Yeah.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He kept lethal
you're
force as a
asking me-
last
if you're-
resort.
if you're asking me, I don't even know what you're asking.
We were
me at this
examining
point.
right now whether or not it was wrong for him to be there in the first place. So I designed this hypothetical about protecting your neighbor's house.
I misspoke.
And it seems that we agreed on that.
Sorry.
It seems that we agreed that, you should be able to say, hey, motherfucker, if you're intent on burning down this house, you do so at the peril of your own life. That's a decision that you have agency in.
Sure. So taking a
And that's
gun,
what Rittenhouse
sure.
did.
So
You're a right winger. You're a pro defending property. You're a right winger.
So taking a gun to I'm pro defending himself.
So you're not pro defending property or livelihood or anything like that either.
I'm not pro killing people to save a few cars. No.
What if somebody
little crazy
doesn't
about it.
doesn't the person have agency in that themselves if you're presenting the threat and making it clear? You're saying,
What?
hey, if you want to destroy this thing that is another person's home, you do so. You accept that you're doing so at the risk to your own life.
Were there huddled children in the car lot?
No, fuck it. We'll just say that the house is empty.
Then no.
No, a person can just fucking go through with it. There's never any way that you can present any threat to lethal force and say that you are accepting this threat. If I'm making this threat,
You can absolutely present a threat to lethal force, but he
You just
didn't
think it's wrong.
even use lethal force to defend the place, or even the presentation to defend the place. He used lethal force to shoot somebody who was chasing him
so
off
your
of the
position
property.
is stronger than Rittenhouse.
No, he fled. Maybe he fled the building. He fled.
What does that mean about you?
He fled the building and he shot the guy who was pursuing him afterwards to save his own skin. He didn't shoot the guy and take injuries to defend the property. He didn't give a fuck about it. Push came to shove.
His presence there was to defend. Okay, then you have no problem with Rittenhouse being there.
In principle, with him being there, no. I think practically he
Sweets.
was courting disaster. I think practically he was courting disaster by bringing a rifle there.
Okay, how about all the people that were out riding at night? Were they not courting disaster?
The people who are riding, probably, yeah.
Okay, so we just give them free reign to just
I'm
cause
sorry.
disaster.
I see. So really, your objection is there should have been more Rittenhouses. Shoot them all.
No, I would hope that nobody gets shot.
I'm sure you would. You're a right winger, dude. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, this is your stance. A few people riot in a protest, and this licenses people, specifically white people, to march into a city and start shooting people who are a part of that thing, regardless now of the fact that their presence with the guns escalated into a particular kind of confrontation.
Sure.
Sure. You're just accepting that. What else is there to say?
There's a lot. There's a lot to say. It's a complex topic. That's why I wanted to examine the nuances with you. There's a lot to say.
What a Weasley
just
fuck.
want to be clear that your position,
I think you
okay,
put
or the
more
one that
care
you're
in- I think
purporting
you
to hold
put more
right
care-
now.
I think you put more care into your hair than this issue.
Oh my
Well, let's find
god,
out.
dude.
How do you feel about that?
Destroyed.
You don't want to find out. That doesn't surprise me.
He's just getting destroyed.
Do you want to find out? Because it sounds to me like your position extrapolates to if racists came down to burn down Black Wall Street, you would tell Black Wall Street, there's nothing you can do to defend your livelihood. You should just accept the loss.
If racists came down to burn
Yeah,
Black
you
Wall
can't kill
Street,
these. You can't kill these
did the
racists or
protesters-
escalate things by bringing guns.
Did the protesters come to burn down the buildings?
Some of them may have, yeah.
Some of them may have indeed.
I mean, the people who set that car lot on fire the first night, were they doing that for justice, for social justice?
Did he shoot people only who were putting buildings on fire?
Can you answer one question?
Did he shoot people only?
Can you, dude? He just Wickedsupreme knows he's just outmaneuvered on every level. He's getting crushed.
Fire?
Can you answer one question?
Can you? Did he shoot people only who were putting
No, you're
buildings
answering
on fire?
questions with a question.
Oh my
It's a very simple
god.
question. You should be able to get over this really fast. Did he shoot
that's-
only
that's
people?
what I'm saying.
Did he shoot only those people?
The irony's killing me.
Did he shoot only those? Did he shoot only those people who
Go
were burning
on.
down buildings?
Go on.
Did he shoot only those people who were burning down buildings?
No, he shot people that were providing a threat to his life.
Why were they providing a threat to his life?
You'd have to ask them.
Well, you can't ask them; they're dead.
But then why would you ask the question?
Indeed.
Jesus.
That is the most
It's
fedora
just
thing I've ever heard. What? Wait,
sure you
so
get
you
it,
asked a
Mark.
question that you don't know why you would ask?
The irony is killing you,
Bro, are you okay? Why would you ask that question? Indeed. Why would I ask that question?
Yeah, why would you ask that question?
Yeah.
No,
give a
you
shit.
asked the question.
You don't give a shit.
True. He doesn't.
You don't give a shit.
He doesn't.
Well, listen.
Hey,
I'm pretty satisfied.
What were they protesting at Kenosha? Do you remember?
Yeah, they were protesting the shooting of Jacob Blake. Do you remember Jacob Blake?
I do.
Sure. Tell me about Jacob Blake.
Let me Google it. Let me make sure I
Well,
remember.
no. Don't Google it.
No.
You wanted
I'm
to quiz
Googling it.
me. I'm pulling the Uno reverse.
Oh,
I can just
let
tell
me
you.
Google
Jacob
it.
Blake.
23rd, 2020, Jacob S. Blake, a 29-year-old black man, was shot and seriously injured by police officers.
President Sunday, 9/11/2022, 2 years later, is finally finding out what the Kenosha riots were about. You came in so fucking hot about Kenosha, you don't even know what the riots were about.
Shesky shot Blake in the back 4 times in the side 3 times.
You've never called somebody bitch in your life.
What? I
Go ahead.
call people bitch all the time.
No, you've never looked eye to eye with somebody and called them a bitch.
Bitch. Ooh.
Go ahead.
Okay, bitch. Shesky shot Blake in the back 4 times and the
Again.
side 3 times after Blake opened the driver's door to his girlfriend's SUV and attempted to reach inside.
You sound like you have PTSD
4
and you're
times on the
afraid I'm going to
side,
give
3
you a
times.
swirly. Sorry, go ahead.
Jesus. Adham.
What?
Sorry.
I was reading a thing for you.
So an officer shot Blake in the back. Why?
4 times and in the side 3 times, 7 shots.
Yeah, why?
Because he was reaching into his girlfriend's SUV.
Okay.
Oh, no.
What else? Can you fill me in on some more information about that?
Shesky said that he believed he was about to be stabbed since Blake was holding a knife. Earlier during the encounter, Blake had been tasered by 2 officers, but the tasers failed to disable him and he continued towards his vehicle. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the shooting?
Well, I think that in that particular instance, a bunch of people whose only tools are... how do I feel about the shooting?
Why were they there in the first place? What was Jacob Blake doing?
I honestly can't recall.
Sure, look it up.
Here's the problem with this line of
go ahead and read
argumentation,
it.
though.
Go ahead and read about it.
Here's the problem with this line
I
of
know
argumentation.
this. You don't.
Uh-oh.
Here's the problem. I'm happy for you. So here's the problem with this line of argumentation. It literally only gets you to a disavowing of the legitimacy of the protest as a whole, which means that you fundamentally don't care about anyone there. You regard the whole protest as a riot.
No, that's not true. I think that the population of people at Black Lives Matter protests, worldwide even, fuck it. It was a worldwide movement. Was comprised of a lot of variables. It was multivariate group of people.
So picture this. You're in the dark at a protest. You've been told, you've observed in the media that there are like...
When it gets dark, it stops being a protest.
What?
When it gets dark, it stops being a protest.
When it gets dark, it stops being a protest.
The Destiny argument.
Typically, yeah.
Explain.
Sure. So when it gets dark, it tends to get dangerous, and the opportunities start to come out.
You didn't say it tends to get dangerous. You said it stops being a protest. Why does it stop being a protest once it gets dark?
Because it becomes like dangerous for everybody, and usually they try to disperse crowds and say that it's no longer a lawful protest. But listen, we don't have to get super hung up on this. The point is,
dude, you're a winger.
The problem is that you're confusing. Your
response to an assertion that the state is racist and is killing black people is to say, well, we can't upset law and order.
That's not my response.
You're a right winger, dude. You're just a bitch about it.
That's not my response at all.
Jesus.
It's cute that you're using that
taking
word.
hit after hit, guys.
That was your response just now. You just said that.
That's your straw man, but no, that's not my response.
It's not. I can actually just parrot your...
Okay, well, listen. If you want to find out my position on Black Lives Matter, you can just fucking ask me instead of making it up for your audience.
You're boring. I'm not interested in you.
That's what I thought. The moment things look grim for you, you just fucking turn tail and run.
I don't feel
you are the most incurious person I've ever heard of.
You really seem to want me to, though. Because you seem really, really invested in that. You keep coming back to that. But I'm still here.
What? I'm sorry, what?
You really want...
Can you explain your reasoning for a protest turning into a riot after night falls? You don't... There's just... I don't think there are good reasons to protest at night. I think that when night falls, I think shit gets weird and shit gets bad. It makes it very easy for violence to happen because it's nighttime, and it's easier for people to wear masks, to go rioting, to do violence. It's way harder to control crowds. Like all the... This might sound mean, but like all the healthy, well-adjusted people that have to work have gone home. It's way too opportunistic an environment. I think that generally people should not be okay with like rioting at night. It's not a good look. Not a good meme. Yeah.
I mean, to exit the call, but I'm prepared to be here till 1 a.m.
Okay.
It's also like, it's just not good. Like, it's not even good for visibility, right? Like, just think about it. Like, how many videos have you seen with protesters that are like, oh, like, we believe in this thing, blah, 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 blah. Like, every video is of the day. Like, nobody's taking videos at night either. You can't even see everybody. It's just like it's a bad meme. A lot of bad hombres out there at night. Not good. Like this.
We got 4 hours to go, dude. Buckle in.
You make a lot of claims about me. I'm telling you, if you're actually curious
I haven't
about
said
me,
anything about you. There's nothing to say.
No, sure. You've said a lot that I'm a right winger and that I think that
Yeah.
that racist policing is okay so long as it's in response to upsetting public order or something like that.
Yes, that's exactly it.
So yeah, you believe that's
Yeah.
true for me?
You just said it.
Well, I didn't say it. No. Do you believe that that's true for me?
You just did.
I haven't weighed in on this yet.
You haven't weighed in on what?
I haven't weighed in on Black Lives Matter and the value of the protest and the reality of systemic racism and racism in policing and stuff. I haven't weighed in on that at all.
You just said as soon as it gets dark, it's a riot.
I said when it gets dark, it stops being a protest. Yes.
Okay, so you can't when it gets.
Yeah, typically that's true. I don't know if you've ever been to a protest. Have you been to a protest before?
What does the word protest mean?
Just
to you?
tell me. Just answer the question.
What does the word
just answer the
protest
question.
mean to
Have you been to a protest?
Of course I have. What does the word protest
Sure.
mean to
Tell
you?
me about that protest. Which protest was it?
There was the Occupy Wall Street thing here a little while ago. They've done a few things protesting
you live
the
on Wall
recent
Street?
mines. What?
You live near Wall Street?
No, it's a global movement. There have been Occupy
Okay, fair
things all
enough.
over the globe.
Sure. There was an Occupy Wall Street thing.
There's a lot
in
of indigenous.
2022?
There's a lot of indigenous right.
Sir, just answer the question. There was an Occupy Wall Street thing, near where you were in Canada or whatever, right?
No, I'm going in chronological order. I was in university at the time.
You said it was here
there's-
not too long ago. I'm curious because that was in like 2009 or 2010 or something, right?
Something that's a little bit sad for the Kevels thing is it's pretty interesting to see the level of coordination that exists between her and Taylor. It's kind of funny. I know they're not very smart, but hold on. This is kind of, I thought this was cute. The Caffels must have DM'd Taylor beforehand. Oh no, wait, hold on 1 second. Use knitter. Maybe they're just in a group chat together. Yeah, I think that they I think they coordinate because she literally retweeted. I'm sorry, I thought they used the same screenshot. It was just a retweet. She retweeted her like 2 minutes after it happened. I think it's pretty funny. 438 and 440. You know, all mainstream media journalists have a group chat. Not all. I think that I know that Taylor and Keffels have coordinated a lot. It's why Taylor gives her such favorable coverage and won't report anything negative. She needs to be fired. The fact that she works for WAPO and like publishes shit like this is pretty insane. But I don't know. She's probably just online a lot. No. Taylor has consistently given biased and favorable coverage towards Keffels over and over and over again. She's like the main writer that has like covered her stuff so much. It's like insane. She doxes people too. I haven't gotten into that part of my thing yet, but I'll take your word for it.
About 11 years. So the
Okay.
yeah.
So tell me about that protest.
There's frequent protests.
Tell me about that protest.
A lot of people sitting and camping overnight. In fact, there was a.
Do you encourage fans to write emails to Taylor's employers? Not yet.
Sure. Tell me about some of these protests. Okay, there were people camping.
Just shut up for a second. You're really fucking annoying.
Shut up for a second.
Just tell me about the protests.
Got him
more
again.
interesting protests. So right now there's a lot of disputes going on about Indigenous land in Canada, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Have
any of those protests turned violent?
Of course, yeah.
Sure. Tell me about them. So you were at this protest.
I visited briefly.
What does he say? Why does he do this to himself?
And this is a protest
I'm
movement.
sorry. If you're trying to, if the point you're trying to make is, dude, people get sketchy at night.
Yeah.
Okay, what does that have to do with whether or not it's a protest after dark? Is the definition of a protest that which is comfortable?
Oh God,
for
what's
the police?
happening to my pipes?
No, sure, fine. Listen,
Are you?
If you want to be pedantic about this, there are some there are protest movements that can occur overnight or something.
That's a really
like that.
fucking stupid thing that you said.
No, I don't think it's stupid at all.
I know you don't think. It's okay.
In fact, you agree with this as well. You were the one talking about how, he's out there in the night. Those were your words, with a firearm, right?
With a rifle, yeah.
Yeah, those were your words.
Yeah.
Now,
that was courting a specific kind of engagement where he would have to use it, or
hang on a minute.
Have a particular impulse to use it. Yes,
okay.
yes.
Oh,
okay?
Listen.
Hit him with a straw man voice.
Slytherin. This is great. I don't know where you want this to go.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. What I would like to do is examine our values. I'm perfectly confident to do this. I'm happy to expose and demonstrate what my values are to you through any series of hypotheticals or anything like that. I'm happy to even just tell you what they are. You don't seem so happy to do that. You seem happy to straw man and just like evade any questions about your own values, or I don't know, like insulting my looks, which like I don't know what impact you expect that to have. I think I'm a fucking
funny.
Okay, funny to who? It is funny. Fuck it. You know what? It is funny.
Got him again.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. I don't know. What do you expect out of this? Does that not sound interesting to you?
It'd be cooler if you were interesting in addition to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad look.
Which isn't a bad look?
His hair.
The weird Captain Hook thing you got going.
Why am I supposed to find it insulting?
I don't think it's insulting. It's just funny.
Come on. Be honest. Sit up straight.
No, I'm comfy.
This is so embarrassing. I'm sorry, man. This is so disappointing.
Oh, no.
So I just want to make it really clear.
oh.
I'm happy to tell you what my values are. You don't seem happy to learn what they are. You're happy to straw man, and you're happy to evade any questions about
What's
your own
there to
values.
know? You think a protest stops being a protest because it turns evening.
Sure. So I think Black Lives... Well, actually, are you curious what I think?
No.
Yeah, you're happy to just straw man. That's fine.
Well,
As long as we have it on record.
There's just not a
you
whole
are.
lot to know.
I'm happy to tell you what it is. You don't want. I asked you if you were happy to hear about it, and you said no. You said you don't want to hear about.
I mean, I'll still hear
Why
about
can't I
it
connect?
over here, but no, if you're asking me to be honest, no, I'm not happy to. I just don't care.
Okay, you don't want to hear about my positions. You're happy to just assign them to me based on what you think they are.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, it's on tape. Anything else?
I don't know. It's your show.
We're both streaming, right?
Shift plus click.
This is true. I defer to you though. This is your show.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty satisfied. You've come on here and said
choice.
I don't actually care what you think. I'm happy to just tell you what I think about you.
I really cannot express the extent to which I do not care what you think.
Damn.
Okay, that's fine. If you're going to make these strong claims, I'm just happy that we have a record that you're not actually curious about what I actually think.
Take it to the presses. Bring it to the world.
Cool. Okay,
Yeah.
anything else? Okay, have a good day. Good luck.
No, hang on. Wait. You're not running away yet. Let me think of something else.
Listen, I'm happy to sit here and talk. I asked you if you were curious about my positions. You said no.
Yeah, but we're still going to talk about them. Elaborate.
I would love to if I have the opportunity.
You do. I'm giving it to you. So here's a point to
This dude.
Oh man, hey God, I'm gonna go get some water.
He's a memer.
Like it's funny. The moment you realize, oh man, this is gonna look bad for me because everything he's saying is true, and it's gonna look bad if he lets me go
really?
now. Now you're like, wait. Fine, I'll play ball.
I have to go now, don't I? Well, cheerio then.
Yep.
There he goes.
All right. What was the over under? He's
Is
gone.
it not gonna pump?
What was
Whatever. Jesus.